It's Halloween, and we are in the spirit. Our costumes might not be spooky, but are you old enough to know who I am, who Jeff is, who Abby is? Also, there's a new World Series champion, which means the Hot Stove League is underway. It's all coming up on the Halloween edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast. Reserved for the World Series champions, and a smile that belonged to the Texas Rangers and their fans until last night when the Dodgers dethroned the Rangers. Hi there, and welcome to the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan Rads here, also known as Carl from Caddyshack. Are you old enough to know that movie? Abby promises that she's going to see it now that she knows Bill Murray played my character, Carl. Abby, of course, is a Detroit Tigers baseball player like her dad. And Jeff is also from Caddyshack, Al Chervik.
That's right. Take your hat off.
Yeah.
Take your hat off. Hey, Whitey, where's your hat? All right.
That's great.
There we go.
Once I watch the movie, I'll be able to laugh at that.
You will love it. I'll quote Carl throughout the course of the movie, just to
me too.
Make people sort of get a sense of what the movie is and make other people really want to watch it, like you, Abs. So much to talk about. Unbelievable World Series game last night. I'm saying the Yankees gave it away. We're going to get to all that, but wow, you had a 5-0 lead and you gave it away. It's nice to give things away on Halloween, not a baseball game, not when you had a chance to extend this series, and the Yankees did that. But first, Jeff, we already have a breaking Rangers player acquisition news.
Yeah, they have made a waiver claim on now former Angels pitcher, former Pirates pitcher, Roansy Castillo, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, I know it was Roansy. I can't remember.
Contreras, my fault.
Yeah.
Roansy Contreras, 6'1", 205, decent, big arm. He's arbitration eligible. He's actually not arbitration eligible until next year. I'm guessing he probably has minor league options. And anytime you can get a reliever who has big league experience and has options, that's probably worth a 40-man spot. So what that means, though, is that the Rangers have been making moves to clean up their 40-man spot. And I'm assuming that those will come to fruition here soon because they've got a lot of work to do. We can get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we can. And Jeff wrote today, and that one's behind the paywall, I would guess.
It is,
yeah. And so remember, become a diehard. And it's cheap right now. And you want to become a diehard so you can get this great content that Jeff is writing. And I told him when I got to the office today, I said, man, I loved what you wrote because it spells out all the different sort of, days and dates and deadlines that are created by the Players Association, by Major League Baseball throughout the course of an off season. There is a lot there, and Jeff kind of spells it all out for you. But what I don't remember, do they have 5 days to get that 40-man roster set? What is
the 40-man roster is set? It's November 19th this year.
Okay,
but these moves will start to get clean. It just will happen before then.
Yes,
that's always a big day, and I wrote that for myself as much as everybody else, just so I remember these days.
Yeah.
The 22nd is the non-tender deadline. Of course, now they have 5 days after the World Series to do a bunch of stuff, and so it's a busy time for like 5 days. Then it's like hurry up and wait.
Yeah,
it's like
which is the name of the game with baseball.
Yeah, but I mean the Angels and the Braves made a trade, a very noteworthy trade already today. Jorge Soler has been traded to the Angels for Griffin Canning, the pitcher who just never really figured it out with the Angels. I tell you what, if the Braves are adding a pitcher, they've had tremendous success with these reclamation projects, including the likely Cy Young winner this year, Chris Sale. So that's an interesting trade, and it happened as the
soon as it could.
first day
Yeah.
was allowed. So obviously teams are talking.
No, I don't think they talked before. They just worked it out this morning. Yeah, they wouldn't. That'd be tampering.
Hey, what do you think about that? Let's do it.
Sure, sounds good. No, yeah, there was obviously some stuff going on behind the scenes before that. And as you saw, there's been an announcement from both sides on the loss of a Rangers a bench coach. Yeah,
Will Venable is now going to be officially the White Sox manager. And, this is a good step in the road for him. I think when we were kind of talking about will he be the right-hand man for Bruce Bochy this season, is he wanting to go after a bigger team? But it kind of makes sense. You baby step this process. You're not going to be given the Los Angeles Dodgers, not that the position's open, but those big market teams, if this is your first time managing a team. I think that the floor is so low, all you can go is up with the Chicago White Sox. They literally had the worst record in MLB history last year. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of grace knowing that the pieces aren't there and they're just trying to figure out it's a young team. But I think this is a great opportunity for him. Rangers now have 2 guys off of their coaching staff. Tim Hires went to the Atlanta Braves, so they're going to have to fill in the gaps. But it is a next step for Will, and I think that this organization is happy to see him take that next step in his career as well.
Sure, and as we've said, Jeff and I were talking about this too. This may help us read tea leaves on Bruce Bochy, because there was a sort of a wisdom thinking that when Bruce Bochy's gone, Will Venable will be the sort of the manager in waiting. And if he decided to move on, Jeff, perhaps that means we're going to keep Boch around for a little longer, or he may be, sort of indicating, I'm not sure this will be my last year.
Yeah,
right?
and I listened to the Zoom call with Will that the White Sox had, and he talked about how because he's had chances to go with places before, and how really these 2 years finished him off. Got him to where he feels comfortable enough to do it. He credited Bruce Bochy for that, obviously, and then. He talked about the opportunity, and you're like, gosh, this team is terrible, like Abby just said. But he said he had a checklist of things that he wanted to see, including like location and whatnot. He's familiar with Chicago because he was with the Cubs, and he was in the front office with the Cubs, and I think even a coach with the Cubs before he went to the Red Sox. So he likes the city, but Chris Getz is their general manager, and they were contemporaries. They were never teammates, but just kind of like the values, kind of like what the Rangers have going on. Just good people, good values, and it's a challenge, and he didn't shy away from that. But it's going to be building character, teaching these guys how to be professionals, that kind of thing, because it's a young team. But he's excited, and I mean that conference call lasted forever. He answered the questions remarkably well, as you'd expect a Princeton man to do. But good for him, and I look forward to seeing him in the winter meetings. He'll all the managers attend the winter meetings, so looking forward to that. And then spring training, they're just right down the road, the White Sox from Surprise. So good for Will.
Yep, absolutely. And again, another thing that's on the Rangers' to-do list. Right. Now, they don't necessarily have to go outside the organization to fill that position. As many assistant coaches as they have, they don't even have to fill these positions, but they probably will.
Yeah, just move little pieces around maybe.
Sure.
But, I mean, those are 2 very important roles.
They are.
So you want to take a look
Yeah,
at
you've
your
got to have
options.
somebody in that role.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of it's been like a 3-headed monster, if you will. Some guys have shared the bench coach duties. I mean, Donnie Ecker is bench coach / offensive coordinator. Right? That's kind of the I guess he has the title, but associate manager is what Will was, and he did a lot of the managerial duties and bench coach duties, like creating the spring training plan and becoming the manager after an ejection of Bochy, and Bobby Wilson has done more stuff. So, like we had talked about at various times this week, I think that this is a chance for Bobby Wilson's role to maybe expand a little bit. I think they will. They are going to announce a hitting coach soon. I don't know who it is yet. I'm trying to get Donnie Ecker was going to be on the weekly show this week, but he's waiting for that announcement. So he's been bumped to next week.
Got it.
And he won't. I haven't really pushed Donnie as to who it is, but Seth Connor seems like a logical fit.
Yeah.
But maybe they are going outside the organization. And then but to fill that specific Will Venable role, I don't know that there is somebody in the organization other than Bobby Wilson.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Ben, I'm 90% confident Evo comes back. You hope?
Yeah, Natalie asked if he'll return next year or not. And they're going to try. All right. You never know what a team's going to do to, knock him over with an offer. But he sure wants to be here. And I think the Rangers will do their very best to get him there.
It becomes a question, too, of how bad do you want to be here? I'll never forget way back in the day when Rafael Palmeiro had left to go to Baltimore. He came back to the Rangers, and Baltimore had offered him at that time an unbelievable 5-year contract of $50 million. And he came back to the Rangers for a 5-year contract of $45 million. And I said to him, so you're telling me, and he finished my sentence, that $5 million doesn't mean a damn thing to me right now, right? Yeah. God bless him. All the things that have happened to him after his career, I'm sure he'd love to have that $5 million back. But the point is, at some point, he just wanted to live here, right? Yeah. And at that point, the money's so big, maybe you just make the decision to do that. I'm not saying Evo will do that. I'm just saying there are players in the past, and many of them, I'm sure, that have done things like that.
Well, and he hasn't been shy about the proximity of his family. They live in the Houston area. He got to see a lot more of them than he would if he was in Boston, or than he did when he was in Boston. And then this is a legitimate thing. Texas doesn't have state income tax, and that is a factor when it comes to signing players. A lot of guys live in Tennessee because Tennessee doesn't have state income tax. Texas doesn't have it, as you know. So those are all factors that could come into play here with Evo and other free agents. If they get similar money, or they work it out, have their accountant and agent work it out for them, it's the same thing. 45 to 50, it's the same when you factor in taxes and all that stuff. Well, then it's a no-brainer at that point. You take the smaller deal and where you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
My dad took smaller deals
Did
out
he?
of comfort.
Yep.
Yeah, the older that you get, and look, Nathan Eovaldi, he's been to the big market teams. There's no team, maybe that is really, he's never played for them. It'd be really cool to have that jersey in your collection. He's got 2 rings. He's been 2-time All-Star. This point probably is about comfortability and the kids and things like that. So it makes sense, but we'll see. I do think that you like to consider all of your options, as Juan Soto alluded to.
Yeah.
But you just really hope that the Rangers can get the ball rolling with that and lock it down, because let's be honest, if they get Evo, that'll dictate a lot of the rest of the offseason.
Yeah, there's no question. Then that's why they want to do it quickly, right? Yeah. That is the first domino, if you will, to fall. And so they want to work on that quickly. There's no guarantee that they can, because as we always say, it takes 2 to tango. And if, Nathan decides, or his agent, and he decide, nope, we want to get out there and test this market. And we don't know from year to year anymore, especially how quickly or slowly that market will respond, right? Oftentimes you're waiting for things like people were last year with the deal that brought Yamamoto here, right? So you don't know how long before it really starts to heat up as far as signing free agents.
And it usually is slow at the start. It really is. The GM meetings are earlier than they used to be, so they're going to be next week. And at that point, that's when the agents are going to get in the rooms with clubs, when teams are going to talk or continue talking about trades. The Rangers, though, have a pretty good history of signing a lot of guys before the winter meetings. Kind of a strike before the oven gets too hot, I guess. They did it with Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, Mike Minor, Joe Nathan.
Yeah.
Depending on how far you want to go back. And even DeGrom was before the winter meetings. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. Chris Young seems to want to act fast. I don't know that he's typically, last year's market just shaped up differently. So I don't know that he was able to, though they signed Kirby Yates right out of the chute. So anyway, there's some things that'll get done. And I'd imagine that the Rangers will try to maybe set the market rather than react to the market, kind of get in a fair price, or what they deem as a fair price. I mean, shoot. Sorry, my wife told me to stop cussing.
Yeah. Somebody said they love cussing.
Yeah, it was Ardell.
Ardell, thank you.
So Ardell for you. Last time, I mean, Kirby Yates only signed for $4.5 million last year, and look at the value that turned into.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So anyway, the Rangers will have those conversations, and already have, and probably today they just started making phone calls.
Yeah. All right. So Carl's nemesis in the movie is the gopher, if you haven't seen it. And some of the scenes of him battling the gopher are just priceless, as he is trying to eliminate the gophers from the golf course. You've got to get down inside their little pelt and crawl around for a little bit, right? So this is the Carl. You need to go watch this movie if you haven't yet. Most of you younger people haven't. It's a fantastic movie. Look for it on Netflix or wherever you find your movies. We've got lots more coming up. We got to talk about Game 5. We got to talk about the implosion. We want to get to some more questions that you have, too, as we get the Hot Stove League started. So keep those coming, if you would. We appreciate that. It's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Tiny bit hard to take someone seriously dressed in a Carl costume. However, I'll tell you who, Z-Biotic is the most popular pre-drink.
I'll probably get used a lot tonight.
In Los Angeles last night and today. I hope everybody availed themselves to a Z-Biotic before they started celebrating that championship that was snatched from the jaws of defeat. They snatched a victory. But Z-Biotic is such a great product. It is, you drink it before you begin to have fun with the frosty beverages, and it coats your stomach, gets in your stomach. There's an enzyme in the alcohol that turns into poison. Well, the Z-Biotic is able to counteract that, and you will not feel bad the next day if you have a Z-Biotic. Invented by PhD scientists. It's the latest, greatest technology. 15% off at zbiotics.com/DLLS Rangers.
You know what? This week has cemented, for me at least, the need for our family to really get into and commit to HelloFresh. We had our samples.
Yeah.
They were delicious. They were easy to prepare. All the shopping's basically done for you. All you got to do is put it on the stove and follow these simple directions. I mean, if you have kids that are out there playing sports and practicing every night, like, hello, the Wilsons, you need to do it. Delicious meals. They include a placard with the directions so you can just follow and cook and use the recipes. It really is easy. And again, this is good food. So get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/Free Rangers. Applied across 7 boxes, new subscribers only, varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals just by going to HelloFresh.com/Free Rangers.
Yeah.
I have some news that Rangers fans won't like to hear.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Guess when the Los Angeles Dodgers parade is scheduled?
Tomorrow.
It is.
November 1st,
Yep.
the anniversary.
Of the day.
Rangers, I know that they really want to relive the World Series, as they should. It's the 1-year anniversary. MLB's not going to be posting about the 1-year anniversary. It's going to be coverage of the parade because they didn't get to have it the last time that they won.
But here's where that date is so cool. It is the 64th birthday, or it would have been the 64th birthday of Fernando Valenzuela.
Really?
And
okay.
so they're celebrating his life and celebrating another World Series. And like you say, that was a lot of the talk of post-game. Mm-hmm. We get to have a parade, right?
Yeah.
The guys who had been
Mookie
there in
was
20.
elated.
Yeah.
Right. And the Rangers only had 1 day off between the clinch and the parade.
Yeah.
And look, these players want to get the hell out of town.
They do.
They want to get their off season started.
It's short enough after a World Series as it is.
Yeah. And you'll remember when the Nuggets won. Nikola Jokic didn't even want to
Jokic.
go to the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he
He did. He was like, no, let's go to wherever my European
he hates
home.
his day job.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty good. But yeah, and that is a neat tie-in with Fernando, and so anyway, but yeah, I mean, we'll talk about tomorrow. The anniversary tomorrow.
Yeah, we're
I mean,
still going to be talking about
gonna be
that.
like
We're
the
gonna
big-
relive it.
the big part of the
That's
show.
our-
Yeah.
it's our
So-
Christmas.
Yeah.
But no, it was the largest comeback win ever in a World Series clinching game. They overcame the 5-run deficit. They were the first team to use 8 different pitchers in a 9-inning World Series win. So it was all gas, no brakes. Walker Buehler got his first save in Major
Unbelievable.
League Baseball in his career in the World Series. I mean, I can't imagine being at a brighter stage. Yeah, and the 15-season drought for the Yankees continue. 2009 since they last won. Just didn't expect it to go the way that it went.
Obviously, if they'd won yesterday, that would only have guaranteed the opportunity to play one more, right? Not even 2.
Right.
Only 1. And but
they would have been the first team to force a game 6
after being down 3-0 in the World Series. That's right. So they were unable to do that, but the circumstances of it are the thing that are just so confounding. I mean, you had a guy pitching a no-hitter through 4 in the World Series, which I know we saw in Game 5 last year as well.
Yeah.
But this is still an unbelievable performance by Garrett Cole, and Flaherty was just flaming out. I mean, he was gone, in the 2nd inning.
Yeah,
Well, back-to-back homers off
Yeah.
Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm will do that to you.
I mean, the guys who had to hit for the Yankees hit finally.
Yeah.
Right. And they did it in the first 2 innings. It's 5-0. Cole's just, like you said, dominant. All right, leadoff single, no problem. Then Aaron Judge just drops a fly ball. Just flat drops it. Next play, Anthony Volpe throws it to third, bounce it in the ground.
Yeah.
All right, get a couple outs, got a chance to get out of it. And then Cole doesn't cover first base. Just inexcusable. And that opened that was it. I mean, that's 6 outs basically.
Yeah. That's just one run that scored on that play, but
right.
the floodgates were
the
open.
run would not have scored if he'd gotten his butt over there.
Right.
And then that was it. And, you can't give teams an extra out. You sure as heck can't give them 3 extra outs. And, the Yankees, I don't want to say they didn't deserve to win, but they didn't deserve to win that game. I mean, if you're going to play like that, I mean, I was trying to think, all right, when's the last time I've seen an inning like that did not involve my son's Little League team?
Yeah.
And it was, honestly, sorry, apologies to Elvis Andrus, but it was the 2015 Game 5 of the Division Series at Toronto where he made the errors, and then Rougned Odor screwed up a play and really should have caught a ball. And then, that was the only opening they needed, and Jose Bautista hit the big home run. So, it would have been different, though, if Yankees win this game. Yes, they still had to win 2 more. They had to travel back to L.A., but those L.A. butts would have been a little bit tighter, and they might have started thinking about it, a little more pressure. But I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it was a crazy game. It wasn't necessarily a good game last night. It was a crazy game that had a lot of turns and things that you never see. That's why I say you never know what you're going to see at the ballpark.
Every time.
And
it's like a snowflake.
And you could tell the Yankees relievers were tired, I think.
Clay Holmes, Luke Weaver.
I mean, three days in a row for him. Tommy Kahnle, who was throwing only changeups the whole series.
Yes.
When you see that enough times, you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
As a hitter, you know what's coming. And it just, poor Luke Weaver got tired.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just all you can say. I mean, Mark Leiter, who wasn't even on the series for the roster for the first series, had to be added for the ALCS. He's in there pitching like he's, Mario Rivera.
He actually looked great.
He did really well.
Really looked good.
It's just crazy, and we talked about it. The 3rd day in a row, it's going to be a tough one, and it was, and I even think Dodgers relievers were kind of huffing and puffing there at the end.
Yeah, because all right, let's just take a look at the scariest thing.
Oh yeah,
on the New York streets today.
Costume, yeah.
There's no topping this because, I mean, Aaron
Oh,
Alex Rodriguez, sorry, said this is one of the greatest meltdowns I've ever seen in 40 years. Derek Jeter said, I've never seen an inning like this, especially in a World Series or post-game season. I mean, just all of it really encompassed the Yankees' season this year in a lot of ways, just really sloppy, you know? And MLB Talent says they don't win by execution, they win by their talent. You won't win a World Series like that. 3 errors. Like you said, Cole failed to cover first base. Catcher interference. That was huge.
it was big.
A balk in a very pivotal moment.
And a dumb balk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the pickoff rule that came into play. It's like Weaver just...
Weaver was so, I think, just tired.
He was gassed.
That's what I'm saying. And so Garrett Cole, 38 pitches in that 5th inning alone, faced 10 batters. That's the most in a World Series inning. Props to him that he was able to go out into the 7th and not make it worse than it was, but
that was actually amazing.
It was, but
that you are able to, because, again, did you say 39 or was it 40? It was 39 pitches?
38.
38, okay. But
he threw 108 for the game.
Yeah, he was right at 40 pitches for an inning. That's the magic number, right? I mean, you're out of there after 40 pitches, and certainly even if they don't have to pull you from that game at that point, most managers will then say, all right, well, you had that inning. Let's take a seat.
Yeah, boom,
and
let
Garrett
him go.
Cole was like, nope, I'm going back out there. And he did it. He got through the 6th. And then, obviously things began to derail a little bit. But I thought that, again, I love that top of the 5th, on the Halloween costume that was so scary because it was just an unbelievable house of horrors. Yankee Stadium became this terrible house of horrors. Now, on the Garrett Cole play, you remember who was running down to first base?
Mookie Betts.
Yeah. And back in 1986, when the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs, do you remember who was running down? Mookie Wilson. We had the double Mookies. Had the double Mookies. Something about being named Mookie and getting to first base to basically, in one case derail a team, and the other case.
I'm sorry, but that cost them.
Sure,
the game.
It did.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole should... Oh, he spoke to media, actually.
Okay.
He said, at the end, it felt like a win was just to not give up the lead after the 5th.
Right.
I thought that was very interesting. Aaron Judge's post-game comments were incredibly different. He said, this will live with me until the day that I die.
Wow.
I mean, you could just... I don't know.
There's no win. To Cole's point,
no, that's what I'm saying.
There's no win in that 5th inning.
You should have got out. What, would it have been 1 run?
No runs. It would have been no runs.
Just cover your base. But if you're going to be Garrett Cole, I'm too good to do it. Okay.
I
don't know.
I tried to watch the replay, and it's like, well, did he go for the ball? Because it wasn't even hit hard.
He didn't. No.
And he didn't. And then, it's like...
But it's understood.
I thought
no, but I'm saying, you go over there. It's like, well, maybe he just went for the ball. I didn't see it, and he was out of position, and Rizzo was screwed. And that wasn't the case at all. He just kind of jogged over there. And like Joe Davis on the broadcast was like, oh, ground ball to first. They're going to get out. Crap. Can't believe it. And
Well, and when I looked at the replay, my thought was, and again, it doesn't matter. You still have to run it out. They teach you this the first day of spring training. But my thought was, because Rizzo kind of had a head of steam fielding that ball, that Cole thought, Rizzo's going to beat him to the bag. Well, he didn't, and he thought Cole was going to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was just a lot. Let's, I guess, take a look at what is heading to the Hall of Fame from the Dodgers side. This is their 8th title. It is going to be the catcher's vest, Will Smith, and then the cap of head manager. The manager, Dave Roberts. Also, just a really cool outing for Walker Buehler. We said this was his first save in the major leagues, but take a listen to his season. He had the worst regular season of his career. He was starting for the Dodgers in October out of necessity. He pitched 5 shutout innings in Game 3 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium, and then 2 days later, he got the final 3 outs to win it all. And his teammates made sure that he got that World Series ball.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Well, pitching on 1 day's rest. Okay, that was probably his bullpen day.
Sure.
And they're probably like, just
don't
throw your bullpen.
Yeah.
You're not going to pitch again in this series as a starter. So and he went down there kind of like in the 3rd or 4th inning, I think, and it kind of is like, okay, I could see it. And again, as depleted as the bullpen was,
They needed somebody.
Yeah,
I think they were out, right?
If they had a guy who could give them an inning, a starter, then boom, there you go.
Well, their bullpen did it. They only allowed 2 out of 24 inherited runners to score this postseason.
Wow.
I mean, hats off.
Wow.
Pretty good
stuff. It's just really interesting. I think everything that everyone kind of anticipated this World Series would be ended up not. The struggles that we thought the Dodgers would have were their biggest success. The struggles that the Yankees, it was just kind of vice versa. Not to mention Aaron Judge and Ohtani, both 2 for 15.
Wow, amazing! But like Jeff said,
Ohtani's
Aaron
injury,
Judge got that thing started. He got his home
run. It was
run.
Just too little, too late. And I mean, nobody is going to admit this at all, but that fan interference at Yankee Stadium might be the moment that it just really shifted the energy.
It's really interesting because, and Abs, you weren't here with us yesterday, but I angered some people by going off on the 2 fans, and people were like, they're just passionate fans. And
no, they're not.
I agreed, and we made that point yesterday. But the only people more mad at me, if they would have seen this, and maybe they did, were the Yankee front office people. They invited those kids back.
Yes.
They wanted them back in. Not kids, they're in their late 30s.
I think that just shows you where we're at.
Well, I mean, again, the Yankees were like, hey, made a great play on the ball. Give them a break, huh? I can't even imagine that you would invite them back. Major League Baseball had to intervene and say, no, we can't have that going on in the stadium for players' safety.
Yeah.
Props.
And the tickets went to a family, including a kid who had cancer. So that's
way
cool.
better cause.
But
and Mookie was on the Fox post-game show.
I was gonna
Did you see that? And Mookie said, I told my wife, that's just the second time in my life I've wanted to fight somebody.
Yeah.
He wanted to fight him.
Which is funny because before they won, his post-game interview about it, he was like, doesn't matter. We didn't win. I don't want to talk about it. But now that it's over, it's like he can really speak his piece, as he should.
Yes.
I mean, I just don't get it. I know y'all dove into it yesterday,
and
again,
but Big Papi was the one that asked him the question too. So that's it's coming from a different,
and a former teammate.
Exactly. So,
but
So.
Anyway, we got to get to Freddie Freeman next.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The MVP World Series MVP, I should say. A lot to talk about with him. Lots more to talk about with this game. We're going to go back 1 year and relive something that happened with the Rangers' run to a championship too. And we'll get to some more questions of yours as we continue on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
I know you guys watching at home think our set is pretty sweet.
Yes.
A lot of these items are courtesy of FOCO, FOCO.com. Best sports gear around. Not just gear, but stuff you can stick on walls and things like that. If there had been a FOCO when I was a boy growing up, I probably would have bought all the posters that they had because my room was covered in posters. Anyway, get fitted in the best sports gear around at FOCO.com. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Jackets, swimwear, overalls, all kinds of stuff. So check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description, which will be in the show description. For all non-presale items, use the promo code DLLS10 for 10% off. Get your gear for your favorite team, presumably the Rangers here, and get some stuff to stick on your wall and have a good time. And thanks to FOCO for helping us out.
And the next thing that you need is a rugged road cooler. It's finally starting to cool down here, so maybe you could go fishing in your little outfit today.
Might get up,
you guys could go to the golf course, take a couple brewskis with you, and you need a great cooler. And this fall to tailgate, to go to the kids' games, this, that, and the other. You need Rugged Road. They're floatable, so if you want to do anything that involves water, no worries. Your cooler will remain safe, and your beverages and your food will be cold. Lightweight design, so it's not going to break your back when you're carrying it there. Durable and dependable, and also versatile. So we have a 10% off code for you. You can go to ruggedroadoutdoors.com, use the code DLLS, take advantage of that. But yeah, the nice weather. I mean, it's finally starting to feel like tailgating time.
Sure.
I'm not sure if I'm going to tailgate with Cowboys, but I might tailgate.
I wouldn't.
Something else. I don't know. We'll see. But if I did, taking a Rugged Road cooler.
So, we appreciate Rugged Road too. Al Chervik had an awfully good cooler.
That's right.
When he played golf. When we talk about taking golf beers out on the golf course.
That's right.
Al had one that had a remote control, and he hits a button, and a beer tap pops out of the Rugged Road. I'm sure it was a Rugged Road cooler, right? The beer tap pops out of there, and he starts pouring draft beer for everybody. And he has some music. In those days, nobody had music out on a golf course, and he had
But
a
Al sure
stereo
did.
attached to it too. And he says, "Let's dance."
So
you
what?
know?
So let's dance.
Yeah. So
Seems
anyway.
expensive.
yeah,
Well, he was rich and flamboyant, Al.
Yeah, Al. He was a builder. Yeah.
Exactly.
Developer.
Builder.
Yeah.
He and Wang, they built built real estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
on the Great Wall of China on the good side.
On the good side. He said, "I'll tell you, greatest wastes of space are golf courses and cemeteries."
That's right.
He wanted to develop them all. So you got to see it.
Oh,
I'm
we got a
just
super
telling you.
chat.
I'm telling you. Hey, a super chat from Ardell. Thank you, Ardell. We appreciate that. I can't see it.
The
Can you guys read
camaraderie
it for
and
me?
togetherness of the Dodgers was a factor. Give Dave Roberts credit for cultivating that championship character. Yeah. And
Culture matters. Chemistry matters. I know the
Oh, it does.
analytics nerds don't believe that. They think that every player is just in a vacuum. That is not at all the case. And you listen to every championship team, like a great clubhouse, great chemistry, great group of guys. These guys are with each other from the middle of February until the end of October if they win the World Series. That's a lot of the year, probably 67% of the year. And that stuff matters. 100% matters. Thanks, Ardell, for the super chat.
Definitely. We appreciate it.
But-
and look, this team has been to the playoffs 12 years in a row. They've been to the World Series 4 times. They've won 2 of those. I mean, this is a dynasty. And again, Dave Roberts is a huge part of the reason why.
Dave Roberts is one of the nicest people.
No doubt.
I'm always lucky enough I get to sit and talk with him. He takes like 30 minutes to talk to me when the Dodgers are in town.
Wow, that's great.
And my dad said whenever he was covering them, I mean, he pulls them in his office and kicks, his other managers, coaches out, and he's like, "Hey, I want to talk about you." And my dad's like, 30 minutes to chat before a game? Like, you're not human. So I'm just happy at the fact that
Did your dad and he cross paths as
They did.
players?
Yeah, they
in
did.
Boston.
Yeah.
At
So
least.
they've got a good relationship there,
Yeah.
but it just goes to show that the type of people that are on this team, chemistry does matter. And I mean, just if you take a look at the body of work that the Dodgers put together without Glasnow, without Kershaw, I mean, it's almost similar to the Rangers last year without Scherzer, without DeGrom. I mean, we really could make a pretty strong comparison there because this team had about 4 months from August to really turn this game around and put together this World Series championship team. So chemistry definitely matters. Went on a little spiel, but that's how I feel.
Okay.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it very much. And it's absolutely true.
Who else is great?
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman's great.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman's great. I mean, he is unbelievable. He didn't get the home run to become
Right.
the only player ever to hit home runs in 5 World Series games in one series, but he tied someone. Let's just say someone.
I was going to say, no,
with
I've got
4.
it. I've got it. You ready for a history lesson?
Yeah.
All right. First ever walk-off grand slam in a World Series, game
Okay.
1.
Yep.
Drove in 12 runs to tie the World Series record set by a Yankee back in 1960, Bobby Richardson, who did that in 7 games. He did it in 5.
Yep.
Home run in the first 4 games. He joins George Springer as the only player to home run 4 times in a single World Series. That was with the 2017 Astros. And then he extended his own record, setting a personal World Series hitting home run streak 6 games dating back to 2021 when he won with the Braves. He was hitting 300 with an OPS of 1,000 in the World Series on like 1 leg.
Right.
This man, 4th player ever with 4 home runs and 10 RBI in a single World Series.
Pretty
I mean,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that. Again, I was really starting to think, and again, obviously you're never going to know. I was starting to think this may be a guy who wins the MVP, even if the Dodgers don't win the series, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
who knew? I mean, again, if Judge comes back in the last 3 games and they win and he hits 8 home runs or whatever. But I'm just saying, if they just kind of, slap and tickle a couple of wins together and, then you might say, I might say, if I was sitting there voting, I'm going to give it to Freddie Freeman. Nobody else has been that valuable. But anyway, that didn't come to be. I mean, the MVP part did. But he was a no-brainer for the team that won.
Oh yeah.
He joined 11 other players to win league MVP and then World Series MVP. So I mean, after the year that he's had, and I love the moment with the Grand Slam, giving the ball back to his dad. Like, Freddie just truly plays and seems to keep, first things first. So for it to happen to a guy like that, you're happy about anything, but I think it just might mean a little bit. But he actually said, I don't really want to correlate this to what happened to my son earlier this season. He's like, I don't ever cross the two, but he said it is really special that this is the year that this happened.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
very cool.
I mean, he was getting pretty choked up. It seemed like
Yeah.
in his post-game
always
interview.
does.
It just he knows he knows what he went through
Yeah.
more than anybody else. It's got to be scary stuff when you think your son might be. John Moore, who I do the weekly show with, his son had a brain, I think it was a brain tumor
Oh,
or something like that. It turned out to not be cancerous, and everything turned out okay. But just he woke up one day and couldn't move half his body. So
Wow.
it's a frightening situation, and glad things worked out. But to the Dodgers supported him. I mean, he left the team. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
which is
Right.
Like 8 days,
for them
I
to
think.
support him like that, it kind of tells you about the chemistry and everything. Family first, and I'm sure every team would have done it though. But still, pretty special
and
deal.
by the way, not back in the day.
No.
Yeah.
No. Like
no.
Tom Grieve has
Right.
never saw any of his kids born.
Nope.
He was never there for
My
the
dad
birth of his children
literally
because
held
he was
me for
playing.
12 hours.
Yeah. At least
And
he got to be
back on the
there.
flight.
Yeah. But many of them back in the day, they
Oh, yeah.
that was just, they didn't make a provision for that.
Yeah.
You got to work.
Yep.
Might not even play that day, but
Mike
you got to work.
says Freddie was 2024 version of Seager's World Series heroics.
Yeah. World
is special.
Series wise, for sure. Yeah,
It is special.
absolutely. Yeah. It was a very special performance. There was a very, this team has had a very special, there's Freddie. Look at him getting some much deserved rest with that trophy. I swear, I do that sometimes on planes and I always end up dropping what
always-
I'm holding. Right? It's
your
like,
World Series trophy? Let's just take a look at what Vanessa Bryant
Right.
did.
That's what I was going to say. They've had a
Um,
tie to the Bryants from
Yeah.
the Ohtani, recruiting and all that stuff. So
And
this is
then
fantastic.
Earlier in the postseason, they did write "Jobs Not Finished" in the clubhouse. So Vanessa and the Nike team created this and distributed it to players. There's so much greatness when you talk about Kobe Bryant, and he's just a huge part of the LA culture. So I think it's pretty special what they created for this Dodgers team to commemorate and celebrate this accomplishment.
Yeah, so BC and other big Dodgers fans may want to go ahead and see if you can find that somewhere, because that's a pretty cool tie to a couple of awesome one LA accomplishment and one LA icon.
Yeah, I mean, he's passed and he's been gone for some time now, but it's, his memory is still deep in LA, and, his mindset is it's going to remain in sports for the rest of time. I mean, they literally played the "Jobs Not Finished" commercial ahead of the game last night. And I don't know. I have a lot of words about Kobe, but I loved that.
Yeah, that's very nice. The one question that, I saw a couple of New York writers, first of all, in the papers in New York this morning, talking about how bad it was, not only in that fifth inning for the Yankees, but that they were kind of Keystone Cops all season long, right? That they were basically not a tight, fundamentally sound team.
Mhm.
Not something that I had, we don't watch every game, not something that I had picked up on watching them on the periphery as I had done throughout the year. But the thing that's amazing about that, Jeff, is that that's correctable. We know from Rangers experience, right? I mean, the last year of Chris Woodward, this was not a very good defensive team. And when Boch came in, he said, we're going to be a good defensive team. And they had 10 Gold Glovers or whatever they had.
Well, they committed the fewest errors in the American League.
Yes.
And went to the World Series. The Diamondbacks last year had the fewest errors, I think, in the majors by one over the Rangers. They went to the World Series. That stuff matters.
It does.
When it's an out, you got to get it. Out, you don't have to make spectacular plays. Those help. But if the ball's hit to you, get the out. It saves your pitchers. It gets saves momentum. Like, let's say you just scored 4 runs and you want to get back in the dugout. Well, if you commit an error and make your starting pitcher throw 30 pitches in an inning and maybe give up 2 or 3 runs, all your momentum's gone. All that stuff matters. And Bruce Bochy, that was what he preached right off the bat. That's a Chris Young tenet too. Get the outs that are outs. It's a huge Mike Maddox thing. Greg Maddox's brother won 18 Gold Gloves. If a pitcher can make 3 plays a game, this is Greg Maddox's philosophy. If he can make 3 plays a game, that's 1 inning. You are extending your start by 1 inning. Just do little things like that. They call them the little things, but they all add up. They're all big.
Things.
They're
big.
They
become big.
It is a very big thing, the little things. So anyway, that's got to do it all 3 facets have to be solid.
On the opposite side of that, though, Dave Roberts did say, this team's been talented but not tough, and he said this is the first time that they've really shown the toughness and they've learned it, because they took a lot of gut punches. It's everyone was tweeting, oh, game 6, get ready, and it's just proves it's not over till it's over. But they showed toughness.
They did. They absolutely showed grit. They showed toughness, and they earned this World Series victory. So the Dodgers are champions for a year. No more are the Rangers champions. But we got to take a look back at 1 year ago when the Rangers were on the route to that championship. And we'll also get to questions from you and continue to wrap this up. We've got our batting cleanup segment coming as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. And look, here's what you want to do. I mentioned it at the top of the show. Become a diehard. We've got this special deal for you working right now where you can get it for $49. And it's way cheaper than the previous price was. It's a limited time offer, and it provides basically the exact same benefits that you got before. And so this is the time to do it. We never know how long one of these limited time offers are going to take place. Sort of like when they put your favorite, I've never liked it, but like when McDonald's puts the McRib out there.
Chick-fil-A, jalapeno,
their
sandwich. Why is that seasonal?
See what I'm saying? So when it's a limited time, man, you better take advantage of it when you have the opportunity. 20% off of all of your merchandise, 20% off of all of the events, and you get access to all the great content that we put behind the paywall. So become a diehard today and get a free t-shirt as well. That's still a part of this deal, even though it's way cheaper than it was before.
And the merchandise, we've been these 2 fellas have been modeling it for you.
Yeah, I've got another one tomorrow.
Okay. Stay tuned. But it's good quality. It's very comfortable. It's fashionable.
Yeah.
You can celebrate and support all of your favorite teams. We literally have the Mavericks, the Rangers, the Stars, the Cowboys, TCU gear. Do we have SMU gear as well?
Yes. I'm sorry about the thumbs down. There is an SMU shirt,
yes.
which I do not approve of.
And then there's a gift card also. So if you've got family in Denver and Phoenix, Chicago, Philadelphia, you can send them their favorite gear of their favorite team. So you guys can both rep your All-City Network stuff. We'd love to see you guys in this merch. Wear it to a Rangers game. How cool would that be if we are around Globe Life Field and see somebody wearing these shirts? We'll take photos with you, be our best friends.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it very much.
A little bit of Rangers news, just small. Dane Dunning and his wife welcomed their baby girl. Celebrated. They are going to welcome a baby girl into the world. 2025, they had their little boy, Mac, in 2023. Somebody said, hey, every single time Dane Dunning has a kid, he wins a World Series.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
congratulations.
That's another
to the
pattern,
Dennings.
right? We got the Boch pattern. We got the
baby
Dunning pattern. Yeah, we'll take that. So a year ago today was actually Game 4 of the World Series between the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we, at the start of that game, were all a little bit nervous because Adolis Garcia would not be able to play in that game. That meant that coming off the bench was a guy we all love, but, there is a talent differential between Adolis Garcia and Travis Jankowski.
You mean El Bombi and El Blondie.
El Blondie. They have the similar nickname, which I love.
I think that's the day he became El Blondie.
El Blondie.
Yeah.
Because that was an 11-4 victory for the Rangers that day, and El Blondie came through in a big way.
I think it was because they asked him, nobody had called him that yet, and they asked him about it, and he goes, oh, anything comparing me to Adolis Garcia, I will gladly take. Yeah.
It was a fun time because you always have these guys who come through who you don't expect, and
Yes.
but it's also why you put together a good bench. And if you have any criticisms of the 2010 and 2011 Rangers teams in the World Series, they didn't have very good benches.
No.
And that was back when you needed to pinch hit and do stuff like that when pitchers would bat. So that's not good. So what Jankowski did early in that game, coming through with a big 2-out hit,
Yep.
that kind of opened the floodgates really, and then Marcus Semien followed and did some good things. And then Travis, I remember Travis afterward, everybody crowded around his locker to talk to him. And, of course, he was a total professional. And it was like his moment.
Yes.
When
Yes.
Travis Jankowski looks back at his career, he's played a while. He's been with a lot of organizations, never really stuck with anybody. What was kind of an everyday player earlier in his career for at least a season at least. But he knows what he is and who he is, and that's going to be his signature moment would be his performance in that game.
Am I remembering it correctly? He would not have even made the team out of spring training in 23 were it not for an injury, right?
It was Leody Taveras was injured. And so he came, he broke camp and came to, they always have the games here in Arlington, and basically was told, well, this is it. This is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
If Leody goes on the injured list, you're on the team. If he doesn't, you're going to AAA. And I think he was prepared to accept the AAA assignment. And lo and behold, Leody does not make the opening day roster. He started on the injured list, and Travis made the team and really kind of became kind of a guy who you had to play at least against right-handers. Yeah. He was doing so well, and it faded a little bit, sure, but just the way that Evan Carter talked about how great Travis Jankowski was to him in that last September in the playoffs, trying to show him the ropes, and just such a good guy, good teammate, and always ready to play. Always ready to play. Yeah.
Always. And he has the best attitude about it.
He does.
Being a utility guy is a really difficult position to be. I mean, your ego quite literally has to be benched. And he says, wherever they need me, whenever they need me, and just to stay ready, to Jeff's point, just to stay ready. I mean, that's you got to find the balance of the workouts and practices and just the regimen for your body in that position. But he's literally a pro at that. The Athletic called him the unlikely fall hero. Seems to me that in these NBA Finals runs, World Series runs, or Super Bowl, like there needs to be that X factor.
Yep.
That unlikely hero that, you think Aaron Judge is going to do it? Well, he's 2 for 15. And, for the Yankees, it was Anthony Volpe. Yep. And what a great tie that was there. But, no, the Rangers are, grateful for what Travis Jankowski did. You hope to see him. I hope to see him back.
Yes.
But just great guy, great attitude. The Rangers are all about having good characters in their locker room. He's one of the best.
Yeah, and for the Dodgers this year, you can easily look at Tommy Edman. Right, he won the NLCS MVP, and he still had a good World Series. Nobody has a World Series like Freddie Freeman, but he had a good World Series. I mean, that's your classic case of a guy. Yeah. He's an X factor who came through. Not a guy you would have expected at the beginning of the playoff run to be a huge factor in this thing. So, yeah, you absolutely do need those in each and every playoff run. We've already had some retirement news, of course, after the game yesterday. Dodgers' Daniel Hudson announces that he's going to retire. It's probably not a surprise. It's really nice to go out on top.
Yeah, and he'd had some injury issues. He was the closer for the Nationals in 2019, and then won the World Series with Juan Soto and Max Scherzer. Dealt with some injury stuff the last couple of years. Older guy, who doesn't want to go out on top?
Yep.
And he was one of the relievers the Dodgers kept trotting out there, and so good for him. And if you want to draw a correlation, to an older reliever who's weighing whether he wants to continue, you look at David Robertson, who's 40 and coming off such a spectacular year. He is very capable of continuing to pitch.
Does he want to?
Does he want to? He did not go out on top, unfortunately, with the Rangers, but maybe personally he came out on top. Maybe he is satisfied individually, but he also seems like such a great teammate and a guy who likes to compete that he would want to win. And he does have a World Series way back in 2009. The last time the Yankees won it, he was on that team. Been to the playoff many times, but I'm going to guess that he would want to line them up for another year. And then, going back to our earlier conversation about Evaldi, David Robertson lives in Rhode Island.
Right.
He doesn't, he's from Alabama, but he lives in Rhode Island, which is not exactly close to Texas. So maybe, he has there's a mutual option for $7 million in his contract. He can make more than $7 million, assuming that even though he had a wonderful time with the Rangers, he will decline that and become a free agent. He's his own agent, so it's not like he has to talk it over with anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe his wife, but
nor does he have to share any of the money.
That's right.
With
That's
the
right.
agent.
He gets his own little percentage. I think I've tried to make that joke in spring training. He goes, "Oh yeah, my wife gets that." So,
yeah, that's right.
Anyway, and he has kids.
His wife probably has
40
the
and
final say. Too.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with David. That's a off-season story to follow.
Yeah. No doubt. And there's several of those. If you haven't seen it yet, you want to avail yourself to what's behind our paywall that Jeff wrote today. Just about all the dates, the deadlines, the days that are important throughout the course of the off season, because the Rangers absolutely have a lot of work to do. We know that. But maybe Dave Robertson is thinking right now, you know what? I'm looking at the patterns here, the Dunning pattern, the Bochy pattern. I think I'm coming back to the Rangers next year so I can go out on top. I don't know. It's hard to know what people are thinking.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
100%.
So for Rangers, though, Jankowski, Carson Kelly, Andrew Heaney, Max Scherzer, Yates, Leclerc, Jose Urena, who is really, really valuable. They're free agents. Evaldi has the player option, as we know, that we expect him to decline. We just talked about Robertson. And then the Rangers have an option on Andrew Chafin for $6.5, which is a little way too high. So they're going to be giving him a $500,000 buyout. So those three will become free agents. So that's a lot of guys. It's a lot of roster spots that are going to open up. And then the Rangers will need those to get all the 60-day DL guys back on. And then apparently Roazni Contreras.
Yeah, that's right.
Rads,
that's right.
I had this thought last night. I'm excited and I really want to talk to Jack Leiter, spring training, and ask him how this World Series impacted him, because his cousin was amazing last night.
Yeah.
And Anthony Volpe, his former teammate from high school. So I'm excited to see, what he takes out of their experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just a little Rangers type.
Strong mustache game for Mark Leiter Jr.
Boy, no
too.
doubt.
Yeah, that's
I
solid.
I went to looking up his dad because my wife brought up his mustache, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure his dad looked like that at some point, and I couldn't find one, even though his dad was from an era where that type of mustache, would have been a little more popular. I couldn't find one of Mark Sr. with the mustache. So this is, you got Junior blazing a trail here on the mustache.
Yeah, it was a solid. It was a solid stash.
Yeah.
Speaking of free agents and the Yankees, guess who's free agent now?
Juan Soto?
Juan Soto.
I'll be darned. Yeah.
And he might feel like Rockefeller. I don't know if he knows who that is, but his post-game comments last night were hilarious. I mean, they were asking him, what do you think about this? And, did everyone chanting your name all season long, is that going to sway your decision any? He says, it'll probably sway ownership, show them how important he is to the team, which no doubt he is. But he said he's definitely going to consider all teams. He kind of wants to see all the cards here and hold them in his hand. I'm excited to see where he goes.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Dodgers winning makes him want to jump there, or you were just so close with the Yankees. Do you want to finish what you started? I don't know. He's going to be worth a lot.
It's an interesting decision, and again, it's one where the player in that situation can't lose, at least can't lose financially, right? But I do agree that, you don't get very many opportunities, and in this case, it's probably the only one that he's going to have to make this kind of decision.
Massive deal.
Yeah.
That's going to be
you are
outlandish.
locking down.
And he's going to be worth it.
Yeah, he is worth it.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, geez, that's a ton of money. But you know what? If you're going to give it to anybody, it's a 26-year-old who's established as one of the best hitters in the game and is going to be around for a while. One World Series, just one.
Yeah.
Played in two. Gosh, that's That's
a lot.
something else. That's quite a
Yeah.
package. Yeah.
It's a lot.
And Stanton was just kind of having jokes, and they were asking him if he had any advice for Soto, and he was like, "Oh, just stay with us. Just stay with us."
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So, and him and Stanton clicked all World Series long. So, you know, they were the main contributors of the Yankees offense if they had any. So, I'm excited to see. That will be a blockbuster deal.
No doubt.
Wherever
and
it
that's
is.
one of those that other teams will be waiting
Soto
to see
would look
where
good
he
in
lands.
a Rangers
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That ain't happening.
Not a
no.
small price.
Yeah, that one's not happening. This isn't that year. So anyway, we appreciate each and every one of you. We hope you have a happy Halloween. We, of course, have
Stay
been
safe.
celebrating with our, stay safe. And we've been celebrating with our Caddyshack and baseball costumes. Have fun with your costumes, with your kids, with your trick-or-treating or whatever else you might do on this Halloween. Thanks for joining us. We're back again tomorrow at 12:30 as we throw you a curveball. 12:30 on the
All
DLLS.
Rangers content from here on out.
Yes.
All Rangers. All the time.
Rangers all the time, unless we, find something that makes us talk about it.
We will.
We will. It'll be baseball. It'll be baseball, but it'll have a Rangers tie. We're covering the Rangers every day from now until spring training starts. So we appreciate you being with us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.